Hi there. Most of us in this classroom own a car, but most of us in this classroom probably do not know how to change the oil on your car. So that is what we're going to be talking about today, how to change your own oil at home and save yourself some money in the process. So first of all, before we start talking about how to change the oil, let's talk really quickly about what oil does. Oil is a lubricant used in the engine of the car to keep the moving parts moving essentially. When the engine's firing and making its power, there's a lot of heat and pressure going on, which causes a lot of friction. And if there's nothing there to lubricate it and keep it moving, the engine can seize up and it's done. You have no more engine. So oil is absolutely essential to a car and keeping it running. So why learn to change your own oil? Most people just go to Jiffy Lube, they wait the 20 minutes, it costs them like 40 to 60 bucks, and they're off and away they go. To some people that works. To others, if you know how to do it, you can save $20 to $30, which is pretty significant, especially if you're a college student like us. And also, depending on the oil you use, you can possibly make more power and get more gas mileage. So that brings us to the difference between synthetic and traditional oil. Traditional oil is just dinosaur bones out of the ground. It's your basic stuff. It'll get you where you need to go. Synthetic oil is specially formulated to reduce friction, which in turn allows the engine to make more power and burn the fuel more efficiently, which saves gas. So that's the importance of choosing a good oil to start off with. So moving on from there, the first step, Daniel.
The first step to changing your oil is getting your car up on a jack or some kind of lift and properly securing it. We all know how, for the most part, how jacks work. You put them under your frame, under your car, make sure the contact points are hitting frame, not any of the plastic body or anything like that, and you lift up the car. Well, then you also put it in park. It should be in park and have the emergency brake on. But both of those are mechanisms, and mechanisms fail. You can never trust them. So to be sure, you should always also block your rear tires when changing your oil. That way you have double security that your car isn't going to roll out from underneath you while you are performing the oil change.
So the next step after that is drain the oil, which sounds like a pretty straightforward step, but there's a couple tips and tricks that you can use to make sure that you do it as best as possible. The first is when you're draining the oil, take the oil fill cap off from the top. That'll allow air to flow in through the whole oiling system and get it out, get that nasty old oil out most efficiently. The next step is you're gonna pull the drain plug down at the bottom to let the oil out. Now some people don't know what that looks like or where it is. It's on the engine block underneath the car. It's gonna be a little like hexagonal nut that you just twist off. This is not to be confused with the transmission one, and the way to tell is the engine plug will always be more towards the front of the car and the transmission will be behind it. So that's a good way to tell so you don't accidentally dump all your transmission fluid all out of the floor.
The next step in the oil change process is to replace and remove and replace the oil filter. Now the oil filter over time builds up pressure when it's connected to the engine, so it sometimes sticks when you're trying to unscrew it from the engine. So one trick you can do is either take a small screwdriver or even an ice pick, kind of press the seal around the oil filter where it comes in contact with it, and it helps to break the suction and seal and makes it easier to unscrew. Now, when replacing your oil filter, you want to put a little bit of oil into the filter itself to help kind of prime the filter, and take a little bit of oil and run it around the rim of the oil filter where it connects to the car. That way, when you first put it on, it creates a nice tight seal.
The next big step, and this is critical, put the oil in the car. But make sure that you put the plug in first, or else your oil will end up on the floor and you will need to go buy new oil. After that, you will lower the car slowly.
Yeah, the next step is to lower the car slowly. And once the car is off the jack or off the ramp or lift, whatever you had it on, it's good to let the car run in idle for 10-15 minutes or so. That way you can prime the whole engine system with oil that you just put into the car.
So lastly, after that, you're gonna wanna make a note on your odometer, which is your little shows you how many miles you have on your car. Make a little note of where you're at when you change the oil, and depending on the oil you used, if you used a traditional oil, you're going to want to change the oil just about every 3,000 miles. If you used a synthetic oil, you're going to want to go for about 5,000 to upwards of 10,000 miles before you want to change it again, to just make sure everything's running well, there's no unnecessary friction in your engine. So that is how you change your oil on your car.
Thank you.
Thank you.